Hey, Shalom. All praises to you, how about Shem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Much mercy and true honors to you believers out there. You know, you men out there and you few women out there that actually believe in this thing. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to go into spiritual powers, not carnal power. I want to do another few installments on that, making getting brothers to really understand spiritual power and the spirit. You see, because first it begins within you. It's not anything carnal. Now a display of power that the Lord had was being able to read minds. But being able to discern. This discerning the times and discerning the minds and discerning what's around you and discerning men's hearts and minds, that is a form of power, because the Lord, he displayed that. Having faith, that's a form of spiritual power. Being able to judge, that's a form of power. I read a definition the other day, and basically it went into being able to judge. Certain men discern, and that goes into being able to judge. It's a certain amount of men on the planet that were set up to be the judges. And they wasn't set up to get no fame or no clout. They were just set up to be the true judges in these times, to give you a way out of the matrix. Because like I say, the wide gates at this time, man, they have become the matrix. They are a part of what's holding our people back. So I want to read this a little bit. Mark chapter 2, verse 4. I'm going to start at 3. Mark 2 and 3. And they came unto him, bringing one of the sick of the palsy, which was born of 4. And when they could not, it says, and when they could not come nigh unto him for the press, they uncovered the roof where he was, and when they had broken it up, they let down the bed wherein the sick of the palsy lie. When Yahweh saw their faith, he said unto them, sick of the palsy, son, thy sins be forgiven thee. Because he seen the faith that they had. That makes it even more easier for the Lord to work when you actually have faith. You know what I'm saying? When you actually have faith, that makes it more easier for the Lord to work. Let me read that again. It says, when your house, because they did that, they couldn't get to him. So what they did was they went on top of the roof, and they let him down the bed where he was sick of the palsy. When Yahweh saw their faith, he said unto the sick of the palsy, thy sins be forgiven thee. So the Lord had the power to forgive of sins. The Lord said, the works that he did, you'll be able to do those works. But it all starts within you. It starts within you. So like if you are not right within, and you're not doing certain things, or certain things don't work out or don't open up for you, or this, that, and the third, or you're not seeing things manifest a certain way, then you're doing something in your life that's not right. So you, in order to get blessings and certain things, that the Spirit is dealing with you, You have to be a certain way within your heart. Now, the Lord said that he's seen their faith. So the Lord, he could actually see the faith. And that's actually discerning, being able to see a man's faith, being able to see if a man is sincere, or being able to see if somebody's full of shit. That is a form of spiritual power, being able to discern certain things. Matter of fact, I want to go into this word discern. Because discerning spirit is one of the most important one of the most important things that you could have of spiritual power, along with the faith, the mercy, and the judgment. The judgment goes into discerning, being able to discern things correctly and accurately according to the scriptures, which in the scriptures there lies the spirit. Now, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 10, it says, to another working the miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits. Discerning of spirits. So certain men have a spirit of being able to discern and know certain things. Discerning the spirits, discerning the times. Matter of fact, I want to read this real quick. The brother brought this out. I want to read this because what's happening here is guys are not really actually discerning the times. You see? Wisdom of Solomon 7:17. For he had given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the world was made and the operation of the elements, the beginning and ending and the midst of the times. You see that? So you're supposed to understand what time it is. Now, guys can say, hey, yeah, we're at the end of the world, we're at this, that, and the third. But it's knowing when it was time to gather, and knowing when it ain't time to gather no more. So the Lord gave certain men being able to discern the beginning and the ending in the midst of times, the altercations and the turning of the sun, the alterations and the turning of the sun, and the changing and the change of seasons. So the Lord gave certain men the ability to discern, not just the minds and the spirits on people, but the times. So when you go back to Mark, the 2nd chapter, Yahushua, he had that ability where he was able to discern. Those qualities, they have to be grown within. They have to be nurtured. They have to be, you have to work on them. And that takes faith. It takes patience. For now, though, I'll tell you this. We're in the harvest now. So like everything that you've been doing up to this point, and if you still can't discern what time it is, and you're still looking around and you're lost and all that, well, you're only getting the fruits of your labor. See, a lot of guys, they've been doing this for ulterior motive. Therefore, they're not in the spirit, because they wasn't doing this out of a sincere heart. They was doing it because they had malice and hate and envy in their fucking heart. And they've been following the wide gate too. If you're following the wide gate, where a lot of men are, and they're carnal and they're not spiritual, a lot of guys, they could do these lessons and pass on a lot of info and be a fucking parrot. But when it comes to actually discerning what time it is, like the Lord said, matter of fact, I'm gonna read this real quick, because when you go to Matthew 25, The Lord tells you that the door was shut. Yeah, Matthew 25:10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. So the when you go to Matthew 22, they was gathering. Now it tells you that those that were ready, they went into the marriage and the door was shut. And you have those foolish virgins that are looking for the oil. And the scriptures say, and while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. So while they're still wandering out there and shit, you see, while they're still wandering out there and out there in the world, the bridegroom is going to come. And the ones that's inside the marriage, that's inside the marriage, the door is going to be shut. Verse 11, afterwards came the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. But he answered, saying unto them, verily I say unto you, I know ye not. And that's how it is, because a lot of guys, they don't have a spirit of discerning the times, discerning the men around them, the false prophets. Because like I brought out yesterday, when you go to the scriptures, this is the time of the end of the world where the separation is happening. And what's heavy about the separation, it doesn't have to be a whole lot of people to separate. It just only needs a few men to separate from the wide gate and the wickedness. And then the Lord can actually bring the end. So this is what you got to understand. You have to, spiritual power starts within. And then the miracles and all that shit. But if you're not right within, then you're not going to be able to discern the things without, because you don't actually have it from within. Now, Yahweh Shai was able to heal them, because going back, Mark 2:5, when Yahweh Shai saw their faith, he said unto the sick of the palsy, son, thy sins be forgiven thee. Because he saw the faith. He discerned that they really believed. You see? Now, verse 6, going back to Mark 2:6. So this is all about discerning, being able to see the times, being able to tell the false prophets, being able to get those signals and those signs. Like the Batman, the brother had the Batman, the bat signal. Well, the Lord, in his own unique, beautiful way, the Lord, he gives you signs and he gives you certain signals that you have to follow that are leading you in the spirit. Now, if you're amongst the wide gate, if you're amongst the wide gate, and the mass majority of men, they're carnal with just a bunch of fucking information, then they're not discerning what time it is, because this is their rest here. This is their rest here. Being able, having this world. This is their glory. That's why, guys, they don't want to leave this world. They have too much here invested. You see? Guys are famous and great here. Guys don't want to leave that. So they're a part of the world. But you have to understand when the world is just going to be the world, and you have to follow what the Lord is saying, because the Lord is not speaking to everybody. Just like I just read in Matthew 25, the Lord, the wise virgins, they went into the marriage and then the door was shut. While the foolish virgins, they went back out and they were looking for oil. You see? But while they left, the bridegroom came and the door was shut. And that's what's happening now. A lot of you guys are going to be left out there like you are, because the time is not to be gathering out. It ain't time to be out there no more. It ain't time to be out there no more. You see? Yahweh Shai was not in the spirit. You got to follow Yahweh Shai and the prophets of the New Testament. They wasn't going in circles for 30, 40 years. getting money, fame, and clout. Yahushua and that's why Peter said too, when you go into this money thing, he said, silver and gold I have none, but he had the spirit. That's why these men that are getting these tithes and whatever they're getting, they have the tithes and shit, but they don't have the spirit. So now, by them not having the spirit, they don't want to close this thing out. They want to fucking stay here. But the Lord is closing this thing out no matter if you fucking like it or not. You see? So this ain't no fucking, this truth wasn't something, the Lord showed you how to execute and be effective and do this thing in a short time span. Now we know going back in the times of Noah, it took him over 100 years. He prophesied for over 100 years. That was back then with Noah, when men were living up to like 900 years old or whatever, 800 years old. You know, Noah 600 years old or whatever. But now in this time, you had these groups they've been teaching for a while. You know, the last, 30 years or whatever, 40 years, whatever, let's just say. And so now, at the end of it, the scriptures say that his neighbor come and searches him out. Well, the Spirit is searching guys out that are not really in this for Yahushua. And their thing is to prolong it and drain the clock. You know how you at work and you just sitting on the clock and you ain't doing shit? That's how guys are with this truth. So now we're at the end now, and the Lord have sent out the apostles last, so this thing can be closed up. Because if it was left up to certain men, you'll be going to the highways forever, and you'll be doing videos on YouTube forever and ever and ever, and it won't be no fucking end to it. See, guys don't know when the same way because they don't have that discernment of the times. They cannot read spirits. They're not able to read spirits. Guys are in the Y-gate and they are a part of the fucking Y-gate. Where the Y-gate is, there's no spiritual discernment. Everybody's carnal. It's all about money and fame and clout. Now, mind you, the new covenant with Yahushua wouldn't get no ties like that. So that's why these clowns be saying, hey, we're not in the new covenant yet, because the old law allows you to steal money. So a lot of men teaching this truth, it's not built on faith. Like the Lord seen the faith in these men, and that's why he was able to heal them. We see guys don't have no fucking faith too. We see them. We see guys, man. And it is very heavy what's happening. Now, Mark 2:6. But they were certain of the scribe sitting there and reasoning in their hearts, why do this man thus speak blasphemies? Who can forgive sins but the Most High only? And that's what a lot of you guys are in the spirit of these wicked ass scribes and these wicked ass false prophets. See, the New Testament, it shows you the mind frame of the false prophets. It showed you what they were going to be doing. And this is really heavy to really understand. You see, that's why a lot of guys, they can't get it, because what they're doing is they're serving their flesh. Right? That's why the Lord said, take the Lord's seat in the room. Because when you take the Lord's seat in the marriage, then the Spirit can dwell with you. Then the Spirit can let you know certain things. Then the Spirit can work with you. By you taking a higher seat, then you're not in the Spirit. Then you're cashing out on things of this world. So that's why guys don't have any fucking discernment, and they can't really see what's going on. And the Spirit's not really dealing with guys, because this is guys' payoff. The scriptures talk about they receive their consolation. Yeah, this is their payoff. This is where they get their this is what they get. So guys in the Y gates that's getting their clout, their fame, and their money, they're not going to receive any salvation, because they're of this world. So them being of this world, that means that they don't want to leave. Really deep down, they want to dwell here forever doing the same shit that they're doing. But the Lord is closing this thing out. Mark 2:7. Why this man does speak blasphemies? Who can forgive sins but the Most High only? And immediately when Yahushua perceived in his spirit that they so reason within themselves, he said unto them, why reason ye these things in your heart? You see that? So immediately Yahushua perceived, he could see the minds of men. He could really see. He perceived. He could see certain things, and that goes in discerning. Matter of fact, I want to look up that word perceived real quick. But it's about having discernment. A lot of guys, they don't have discernment because what these camps and these groups will do to you, they will have you in a carnal mind frame where you're not even really you're not looking at this thing through the spirit. You're looking at this thing through the group and through the corrupted leaders and shit like that. So one of the most important things is being able to see and being able to discern. That's more important, having faith and being able to judge. These things are way more important than laser beams coming out of your eyes and shit like that. Because when you could really see, then you could really heal. You can't really heal if you really can't see. Try that word perceived real quick.
Strong's G 1921 epigenosko.
Right, so that word perceive, it says to become thoroughly acquainted with, to know thoroughly, to know accurately, know well, to recognize by sight, hearing of certain signs, to perceive who a person is, to know. You see that? By sight, by hearing of certain signs, to perceive who a person is. We can tell how a person is by their actions. It's not about what you're saying or how many fucking lessons you're teaching. It's about your actions, man. It's about you deep down. Like the spirit is letting us know about how guys really are. It says to know, to perceive, to find out, a certain, to know, to understand. So being able to discern spirits is more heavier than, just like Jean Grey. Jean Grey could read minds and shit in the X-Men, which I thought was really was beautiful, because right here I'm showing you that Yahushua was able to perceive their thoughts. So Jean Grey, she was able to read minds herself, and when she did that, when she did that, couldn't nobody run a fast one on her. She could tell if somebody's lying, just like the Lord. They was thinking the Lord was blaspheming, and Yahushua, knowing their thoughts, he told they as, hey, wherefore ye think evil in your hearts? So discernment in these times is very heavy, but you're only going to have discernment if you have the spirit and you have faith and you've been building on those heavier matters of the law. If you haven't been building on those heavier matters of the law and you really ain't believe, you're not going to have the spirit and being able to discern. Because what we see is a lot of guys, they got a bunch of fucking info, but they cannot discern spirits. But with that, Lord willing, that was edifying. The heavy thing about spiritual power is discerning men and being able to discern the times. Like that definitions said right here, it says, now going back to that word perceive, it says to know, to recognize by sight, hearing of certain signs, to perceive who a person is. So being able to perceive, to know of certain size, to perceive who a person is. So through the Spirit gives you signs to basically discern. So you have to be able to discern the times. You have to be able to measure the times, and you got to be able to read spirits. If you're not doing that on your own, and you're leaning to these wide gates and these camps to discern shit for you, then you're going to fall with their ass. The scriptures say the blind lead the blind. But with that, man, Lord willing, that was edifying. Hey, shalom.
They look thirsty! Well, let's give them something to drink! To the clear!